Good evening. Welcome to the special council meeting, town hall council meeting on Tuesday, October the 30th, 2018 at 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Put your right hand over your heart. Are you ready? Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Tremble.
Here.
Councilmember Bruce.
Here.
Councilmember Maravilla.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rios. Mayor Rodriguez.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. So we're going to have the discussion in direction of the city homeless plan, and then we're going to have our trustee, Hawaiian Gardens school board member, ABC school board member Chris Apodaca, and give us also a discussion on the ABC school district stand on this. So we're going to begin with our panel. Captain?
Honorable Mayor, sorry, let me get this a little further. Just right before you begin, Captain, there's one item that we need to address.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. City staff has become aware of an item that the city staff would like the city council to consider. This item was not agendized as part of this meeting. The Brown Act allows city councils to consider what's considered a subsequent need item under the Brown Act, under Government Code Section 54954.2, subsection B. And this is when you learn of information after the agenda was posted that you need to act on to consider. And it requires 2/3 vote of the city council. So we would like the city council to consider adding this item. And this item will be a closed session agenda item, which is conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation. And if you choose to add this to your agenda, this is authorized under, the closed session is authorized under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 4. So we would ask that a member of the council move to add the subsequent need item, and it would require a 2/3 vote.
Can I get clarification? What are you talking about? What's brought
So-
up by staff? I don't understand. What's the issue?
It's Councilmember Trimble and members of City Council, and for the public, I'll translate in English.
Thank you. I only look intelligent, yeah.
So we became aware today, I just got off the phone on an issue not related to homelessness, just so everybody knows, about some pending litigation that by the time the next regular city council meeting of October 13th happens, November 13th happens, it'll be too late to get direction from the city council on how staff should react to the litigation. And so I'm asking that it be considered by the council to add to tonight's agenda. We'll discuss it after the town hall meeting on homelessness. But it's basically litigation.
So do I have a motion to add this to the agenda?
I'll move to add the closed session item to the agenda.
And I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we'll continue. Captain? Would you-
Okay. All right, great. I'm Captain Rick Harpham. I'm the unit commander at Lakewood Sheriff Station. I've been there for about 6 months as the unit commander. Just a little history of me, I got 32 years on the department. I worked here in Hawaiian Gardens when I first started patrol in the 80s, so I'm very familiar. 17 years of my career has been spent out of Lakewood Station at all different ranks, so I'm very familiar with the area, and I do live nearby. So with that, before I begin, I was going to talk about the letter of agency. Before I start, I do want to thank Mayor Rodriguez, the entire city council, City Manager Ernie Hernandez, the entire public safety team for their leadership, dedication, and support to our ongoing public safety efforts. It's really appreciated, and it goes a long way. We do appreciate that at the station. The men and women of Lakewood Sheriff Station are dedicated professionals that serve here in the city of Hawaiian Gardens. They do have a genuine concern for quality of life issues and public safety issues. I think we're very fortunate to have Sergeant Macy, who's here to my left, that he's here with his SAO team in the city. They are very proactive. They react to quality of life issues, and they usually act rather quickly and try to help abate and solve problems in the city. So I think we're very fortunate with that. So homelessness and homeless-related issues are of concern throughout the county. The Sheriff's Department works collaboratively with the city, with these different agencies regarding these homeless issues. The men and women out on patrol, they often try to seek and refer services to the homeless. If laws are violated, they enforce the laws fairly. That sometimes results in arrest or citations. That does occur. But what I'm here to talk about is a letter of agency. And that's a tool for businesses and property owners, and it helps assist you, and it helps us help you with a lot of trespassing issues, which sometimes relates to the homeless. So what a letter of agency does, it's a one-page form, and we can pass some of these out if you are interested. And what it is you providing authorization to the Sheriff's Department to check your business or property for trespassers, and if applicable, make arrests for that trespassing. So what that translates to basically is if you have a business and at night people are climbing the fence or sleeping in a dumpster area and they're defecating or causing a problem with something like that, and you've told these people to leave and they don't do that, by sending that letter of authorization, it authorizes us to go to your business, check to see if somebody's trespassing, and if they are, we can potentially arrest them for that. So what I would encourage, if you have a situation like that, you contact Sergeant Macy or any of the special assignment officers, explain what the situation is, and they'll help work with you to provide a solution to the problem, and one of those solutions may be this letter of agency. So there's a few things with California law regarding that letter of agency. You have to have posted no trespassing with the Penal Code section of 602 on there. These letter of agencies are only good for about 6 months. But like I said, it's a relatively simple form to fill out. You just include who you are, where the property is, a reasonable contact person with a phone number, and there's a few check boxes that it's only open during these hours, or it's completely closed to the public, nobody should be there whatsoever. And then it has some contact information where it's your full name, address, phone number, date of birth. And why we need all that information, because if we do arrest somebody, we include that on the criminal complaint with a report. There is another requirement that's listed on there that you would cooperate with prosecution later. So if this does end up having to be adjudicated in court, they'd be willing to testify that person didn't have permission to be there, and you are desirous of prosecution for that. So it's just another tool, and I think it's very beneficial to businesses and some property owners, especially vacant property and things of that nature. And that allows, so in the middle of the night, you don't have to get up, come on down, place somebody into a private person's arrest situation. That can be very time consuming. So with that, I think it is a great tool, but I do encourage to work through Sergeant Mazie and his team. That it may not be appropriate for your situation. They'll direct you another direction, but if it is, they can help you with the form, ensure it gets filed the right way. Right now, I think the mechanism in place is that if you do complete the form, it's probably better to go through the safety center. They'll log it. Sergeant Macy will pick it up and make sure. So at our desk, once it gets to the desk area, we keep a log and a board of that. So at any time, a deputy can ask, is there a letter of agency on file at this address? And they'll look through that and they'll see that form. They'll see what's going on with that. And that's always becomes part of the report with that. So that's just another tool that helps us help you with any trespassing situations. So with that, anybody have any questions regarding letter of agency?
I have, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, and I don't know if I'm.
Do you want to pass the microphone around? Yeah, we have a microphone somewhere in the back.
Yell it out.
No, we. Okay.
So
this letter of agency, I know it gives you guys permission to go into businesses or residential homes, but for, I would have to say homeless people, but does that give you guys the right just to go in any time or just for that specific situation?
It would be for that situation. Typically, it's an area that's usually, the public's not allowed, they shouldn't be there, but they're trespassing. So it may just be an easement, an alleyway. So it's not typically used for, okay, we're going to open a door, go inside a business, or we're going to climb the back fence, go in the back. That's typically not what it's for. It's for places where the public may have access, but they don't belong. You've posted the no trespassing and things of that nature. It may even be that front curtilage that's just part of the property that's in front of a doorway or something like that.
Thank you. I guess that's it. So we're going to continue on with the panel, but we will have the questions and answers at the end. The reason we let the captain, because he has to go someplace else. He's kind of, so you can be excused if you
All right.
want to.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. And again, thank you for allowing me to be here this evening.
Well,
Thank you.
before he leaves, I want to thank him personally for being here. Yes, thank you for taking the time and being here.
There's a small fee, of course.
Thank you.
Well, there's some cookies back there. You go ahead.
That'll do it.
Honorable Mayor, so we're going to take one more thing out of order is Trustee Apodaca will present
Okay.
also before we go to the rest of the panel. And you've heard me say it before, but Captain Harpham is really my favorite captain of all time. I know I said that to Captain Wallach, but I meant it. I mean it. This time I mean it, so.
Thank you.
He's my favorite as well. Well, that was, but, yeah.
Hello? I don't know, Sergeant Macy, you said last time that there was absolutely positively nobody better than the last captain. I'm just joking. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Apodaca. I am your school trustee for ABC Unified. I only have a few of these handouts left. So for those of you who don't have one, I'm going to go over the numbers. I'll make it available. The city's, I think, going to upload it on Facebook or wherever, the web page or the FAQ. I've not been at the last two meetings, and you might wonder why. I haven't been at the last two meetings because the last two meetings were actually the same exact night that we had our school board meetings. So they were scheduled the same night. And so I was physically not able to be at the meetings. I did, however, watch several times both meetings. And the last meeting, we actually were able to have staff, the right people, the experts from our district there. So I'm glad that Dr. Tina Porter was there, as well as Kendall Fujioka and our new director of schools, Melinda Ortiz. So you had the right people there. And so I wanted to clarify some things on behalf of the school district, as well as me personally as your trustee. And so this handout specifically goes over the homeless youth numbers, how many homeless students we have in ABC Unified School District. And it's important to clarify that it's not 10% of total students that are homeless, because 10% would be roughly 2,000. It's that we've gone up 10%, just like everywhere else. Homelessness has gone up in our school district. And that's not to say, oh, well, you heard that, we don't have 2,000 students that are homeless. That's good. That's a good thing. But it's going up. So how do we mitigate that? One thing that hasn't gone up is the funding. So let's start there, okay? I want to paint a picture for you guys because I haven't been able to be at the last two meetings. I was at the last council meeting, but I was not at the last two homeless town hall meetings. Started July 31st, where I was able to let you guys know that we spend $10,000 a year for 20,000 students district-wide to fight homelessness. Lots of things have changed. Gas has gone up. Housing has gone up. Everything else has gone up. We spend $10,000 a year. I think you can guess how quickly we go through that. So how do we do it? We refer out to community organizations. We have a very strong partnership with other organizations, but frankly, the ones that we refer out to, if we're lucky enough to refer out to and get spots, for the most part are full, and so they'll send them back. For every one that we get in to, say, maybe a shelter or into a program to help them with assistance or transportation, there are several others that don't get in. And I'd like to tell you what those numbers are, but I have no way of knowing because we can't track them, because we couldn't get them in. Not only that, but there's also a stigma and a shame factor. So many people don't want to admit that they're experiencing homelessness. During that meeting, I also informed the council that I was not consulted as your trustee in putting the homelessness plan together. We collaborate to the point where our staff is on a first name basis with the city staff, and Linda Zuniga does a great job. They collaborate very closely. We work very closely as a district with the city of Hawaiian Gardens. It's a friendship, right? They work for the betterment of our students and our families. However, that's separate. The Homeless Coalition is separate from putting together a plan for Measure H funds. And at that meeting, if you review the tape, I mentioned that I and our SPA 7 liaisons were not contacted. And I verified that today with our Safe Schools social worker. And who the SPA 7 liaison should be, well, we don't have one. Her name was Terry Villa McDowell, and she stopped working for the district about 2 years ago. But that's okay, because now we're here. You've reached out to us. We're grateful to be working with the city. And frankly, with all of the rhetoric that's been going on, not just nationally, but locally, one thing, and I brought this up at our last board meeting, one thing still unites us as a city, unanimously, unites this council, and that's our children. All 5 of these council members voted to help our students who are experiencing homelessness. And that's something that, just to consider it, the effort itself is noble. And as your trustee, I can't tell you how honored I am, because not only are we the only city in our district that's even talking about this, but frankly, there's no other city that's working or even talking to a school district in the county, if not even the state, about how to address homelessness right now, which is an epidemic. So say what you want about one candidate or another, or one council member or another, but they stepped up and they're working with your trustee in your district to address this. So that said, I'm proud to be working with the city and to be working with our amazing staff. It was also brought up with regards to whether or not we have the resources, whether or not we have the staff, whether or not right now what we provide is adequate or sufficient. Well, if we had more money, it would be more than adequate. It would be more than sufficient. But let me talk about what we do provide. And this can be referenced on October 16th by Dr. Tina Porter, which is the first meeting that the district was able to be at and to be able to present at, because we weren't at the first one. So Dr. Porter mentioned that by law, the school district is charged by law, whether we have the funding or not, but we are charged by law. We have to remove barriers to a student's enrollment, attendance, or academic success. So if a student is homeless and they're not able to enroll in a school, they're not able to attend, they're not able to achieve academic success, we have to step in. So what does that look like? And she went into in detail. Well, mom, dad, students are living in a car, an RV. They're hopping from house to house, living in a garage with their families. They go from living on 226th and Juan to now, well, Uncle Joey, who lives in, Artesia, will let us crash on his couch. So instead of going to Ferguson, now they have to go to Willow. The next day, if they're living at Willow, we pull out all the stops. They're enrolled at Willow. The rest of the paperwork, everything else, we'll handle it afterwards. That kid has to be at Willow. They cannot miss a day of instruction. By law, we're charged with that enrollment. That is not an easy task. Try putting together what you need just, to go to the DMV or to file your taxes, let alone to securely transport a homeless student's information from one school site to the other so he or she doesn't miss a day of school. Not only that, they have to be fed. They have to have access to tutoring. They have to be able to perform at school and stay awake, not to mention be bathed, have clean clothes. If they're in elementary, nobody wants to sit next to a student who hasn't bathed in days, at least no school-age children, right? And I think it's really important to point out that as I've been watching the meetings, there's a lot of talk about transient population. Well, they're coming from over here, they're coming from over there. These are students and families that are right in our own community, right in our district. They're not transient. And a majority of our population that we serve that are experiencing homelessness are recently experiencing homelessness. It's because of a family crisis. It's because of an emergency. It's because they're cutting back hours. It's because mom got laid off. It's because dad got sick. It's because of normal things that happen to normal working class people. And I don't have to name names because you in your head, as I'm saying this, are already thinking about families in our own city, in our own community, in the last year or so even, that our school district has helped. And I know because I was one of the people that you called. Hey, well, they have a student here, but they can live over here because, yeah, okay. Vouchers, access to food. Okay, well, but they're registered here. Don't worry about it. Well, but they can't, don't worry about it. We'll transfer them. That's what we're charged with, so we'll do it. And trust me, if we don't, if they don't do that, what they're charged with, they'll have to answer to me. And I think that's worked out pretty well for those folks so far. So that's what we have to do. But then we have to identify those kids who are experiencing homelessness. Because once we identify who they are, we can look at those barriers and be like, okay, they're moving, so we have to let that school know, hey, by the way, this kid is a priority. End of story, they're a priority. And so we react appropriately. That was Dr. Porter's first part. We prioritize supplies. Backpacks, very important. We can't just give them regular backpacks. We used to go buy them by the pallet in bulk. We can't do that anymore because students know, oh, those are the cheapy $5 wholesale backpacks that fall apart after a month. Oh, what are you, poor? So we got more creative. They're still cheapy backpacks, but they look nicer. And so we prioritize those. And then we prioritize counseling, groups, individuals, housing support, transportation. And these are just patches, right? This is just, okay, immediate, survive, just one more day. I just need to get through the day. I just need to get through the week. I just need to get through the month. I need a break. I need for something to change. We need to go from survive to thrive. For too long, our district has been helping people just to survive because that's all we can do. To give you an example, last year, Tina Porter and Kendall and their whole department didn't do a Secret Santa program. Instead, the $20 that they would have used for a Secret Santa, they put into a pot. And they used that for hotel or motel vouchers for homeless students during the holidays. That's the caliber of people that you have at our district. You have experts in their field who can go anywhere in the public sector, a few have, and get paid way more than what we pay them, but they wouldn't go anywhere else because they want to be here. They want to be serving you. They want to be serving our community. And they're advocates. They offer counseling, and frankly, they offer an ear to listen, a shoulder to cry on. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not an expert when it comes to homelessness. I'm not. And listening to them, I'm like, why is it so complicated? Well, because we're humans and we're complicated. No two people are alike. I'm learning that. But with what was proposed, and we've already begun talking and seeing what we can do, there really can be a shift from survive to something that's not just a patch, kicking the can down the road. Okay, well, we helped this many students get to school, but we're out of money. The rest are just going to have to walk. Now it's, well, maybe we can help them build themselves up with amazing oversight. Our district knows how to stretch a dollar like you would not believe. Why? Because we've had to. Takes me back to growing up. My mom can feed a family of 5 on less than $10. To this day even, right? Some ground beef, some canned vegetables, and some tortillas, bam, we're good to go. And I wouldn't know the difference. So we can do this. So that was, I'm not done yet, sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought you were like, that was the 16th. So one particular thing that I have to address, because with us and our district, we're very proud about what we do. We do much more than just feed them. We're offering nutrition. Kendall Fujioka, who's the young lady who spoke after Dr. Porter, mentioned the whole body, the holistic approach of the person. Not just grades, but a well-rounded person. They need nutrition, they need to eat right. We can't just give them hot Cheetos and Diet Coke or Coke. They need to eat right. So we don't just give them a free breakfast and a free lunch. We give them nutrition. We teach them how to eat. Ask Dr. Alexander, he'll tell you all about that. We don't just give them a backpack, we give them a sense of pride and dignity, which every person, rich, poor, old, young, skinny, fat, like me, is equal in dignity and worth. And in our district, every single person, every single student is equal in dignity and worth. And that's the approach that we take. So we might not have much. We might not have more than $10,000, but we find a way to make it work. And it's our hope that in working with the city and continuing to talk about what we can do, we can really pioneer a program here that'll be a model, not just here locally, the county level, but who knows, maybe even bigger. Because that's what ABC is known for doing. And to think, you are the only city that's doing this, not one other city. And I'll leave you with this. Since I was elected, not because of me or because, again, I'm not the expert in most of these fields. I'm just the driver for what you guys put out there. What you invest in our students comes back. And I've had to tell this over and over and over again to all of our trustees from other cities. Well, Hawaiian Gardens, you guys don't have the STEM resources like we do at this school. Really? Then why did we beat you in the STEM Olympics last year? Why did we get first place at Hawaiian Elementary? You guys didn't even place. That's my trustee area. What about yours? Well, yeah, but I mean, that's one off. Really? What about FETI, History Day? So many trophies. I think we need to pass a bond just to be able to build a new shelving for his wall for all of his History Day trophies. People don't understand what a jewel we are, but we're starting to show them. Not just in our achievements and accomplishments academically, which we knew we were capable of, but now more than ever, who we are with our character, our personality, which frankly for me matters much more than any A, B, C, D, E, F, or G that they want to throw at us. So thank you very much for having me. I would encourage you to please look at this because these are statistics, how many homeless students we have by school, zip code, and city. My name is Chris Apodaca. If you have questions, don't ask me, ask your city manager. I'm tired, but I'm glad I could be here. And remember, we really, really can make a huge difference here. And whether it's this council or the next, at the end of the day, remember what unites us. And I'll say it proudly, it's great to see it come out, our city's slogan, our city's logo. We're not just saying it, we're actually living it, right? Our youth, our future. It's great. Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so now we'll continue with our panel.
Hello everyone, my name is Tomasz Babiszkiewicz and I'm Associate Director from PAT and I'm here with Elizabeth Hedger, Deputy Chief. Thank you for having us tonight. This is our third meeting and third presentation, so we're hoping that the city and the community will benefit from the information that we will be providing. Today I would like to speak about our agency PAT, our presence in Hawaiian Gardens and what is street outreach and what services we can offer. About LA Hub, which stands for Los Angeles Homeless Outreach Portal, which is a new system of referring homeless individuals, coordinated entry system, housing first, and we'll be, at the end, we'll be able to answer any questions that the community might have. PAT has been established over 35 years ago, and our goal is to end homelessness for single individuals, families, and in communities. We are doing this by building housing and also providing supportive services for the homeless individuals throughout California. We're doing this by doing street outreach, providing case management, housing navigation, connecting homeless individuals with mental health, medical services or benefits or employment training. This is the structure for the Service Planning Area 7. PAT is the lead agency, and because we're providing services in 28 cities, it wouldn't be possible for one agency to cover so many cities, so we subcontracted with 4 agencies, and the SPA 7 is divided into 4 sub-regions. So we call them LCAs, and they stand for Local Coordinated Agencies. So in LCA 1, Helpline Youth Counseling is the lead agency, and you can see the cities that they're providing services. LCA 2, Whittier First Day, and the cities that they're providing. LCA 3, Kingdom Causes, and also you can see the cities. In LCA 4, PAT is the lead agency along with the city of Long Beach. So we are primarily focusing on Signal Hill, Lakewood, Hawaiian Gardens, and Avalon. Some of the services that we are providing in all those cities are outreach, screening and assessments, case management, housing location, and ongoing supportive services for somebody who would be housed through our programs. We've been working really closely with WEO Ministries, with Terrell. She has been very instrumental in the city of Hawaiian Gardens. She has been making a lot of referrals to our agencies. We've been utilizing their office to meet with the homeless individuals to do any screening, assessments, intakes. She has been referring those individuals that actually stop by on a regular basis to us, and we are able to connect them with the services. What is street outreach? Street outreach, it is a process of building relationship with the homeless individuals on the streets. Like I mentioned, we are working with multiple communities, and we usually work in pairs. Street outreach workers go out to different locations, parks, streets, riverbeds, and they're engaging those individuals where they're at. Like I mentioned, our focus is to build a relationship with somebody, get the trust, and offer the services that are available throughout the county. LA Hub, it is has been launched in July 2018, and this is a new system of referring somebody who is experiencing homelessness. Pat is the lead of overseeing the LA Hub portal in SPA 7, and anyone can report an encampment or somebody who is in need of the services. If they would go to LA-hub.org, they can make a referral for somebody who is experiencing homelessness. The referrals are based on the location of those individuals. So somebody who would make that referral in Service Planning Area 7, we would be receiving this referral. What we've done, we've met with the local service providers that are offering services in SPA 7 and created specific teams based on the city and the location of those outreach teams. And when we receive this referral, we're able to assign a team. What we do prior to assigning a specific team, we do a lot of case management and coordination, making sure that we're not only deploying a team, but maybe somebody has been working with this individual already, or this individual has been connected. So we want to make sure that every time when we receive a request, we are able to screen the request prior to deploying or sending a team. Somebody who is making a request will be asked for their contact information, the location of the homeless individual, and some of the description, so it will help us to identify when we will deploy a team. The system is relatively new, and LASA, with the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, with the county, is working on improvement of the system. We've been receiving a lot of requests how we can improve and enhance the system, and LASA is really working hard to make sure that the communities are receiving, obviously, the services that they can to really help. And it could be the user-friendly, and the communities will definitely benefit from this system.
In order for all of this to work, we knew as a community and as a county that we had to have some more collaboration and coordination work in order for it to flow smoothly among all the resources and the expertise that people have across LA County. So we, meaning LA County, came up with the coordinated entry system. And the ultimate goal for anyone that goes through the coordinated entry system is permanent housing. That's what everybody wants to do. They want to make sure that individuals, families, veterans, whomever it is that we're serving, will be able to be put into permanent housing. It allows people to access services in one single entry point. So across LA County, because it is so large, they have divided, for those of you that maybe not be familiar with it, divided LA County into 8 service planning areas. And these SPAs, or service planning areas that we call them, each have leads with all the systems, the youth system, the individual system, and the family system. And as Tomas mentioned, in the SPA 7 area, PATH serves as the lead on the individual side. We work with Homelessness and the Whole Child, who respectively serve youth and families. And it allows us to have those individuals, have those families come into that single point, and we do a deep dive assessment with those individuals, and it allows us to match them to the appropriate resource of what they need. When the coordinated entry system, before that was established in 2012, it was sort of it was an unorganized system. There were a bunch of different resources, a lot of unique services that were spread out throughout LA County, but it was forcing individuals and families to go to 10 different places, and especially for families, it was very difficult. You know, if you are a single parent with 2, 3, 4 children, even one child, to get on a bus, on public transportation, if you don't have your own personal vehicle, it's very difficult to go to different sites to get services. So that's when we came together and said, okay, we need to streamline this. We need to make sure that we can all come together and provide those services. And that's how the coordinated entry system started. So it allows us to make sure that that we can partner with faith-based, with our public departments, with our sheriff's departments, with schools, anybody, you name it, we want to make sure that they're involved. So for example, in the family system, in all the different service planning areas, at what we call the Family Solution Centers, there is an outstationed school worker, there's an outstationed mental health, substance abuse, the Department of Public Social Services, as well as staff that can assist those families in getting the resources that they need. So it really allowed us as a system to make sure that we could have a no wrong door approach and have those individuals and those families be helped as quickly as possible. It also allowed us to recognize that we have things like outreach, where when an outreach worker is connected with someone on the street, whether it be an individual or a family, they know where to send that person. They know the agency that they can send that person to. So as I mentioned, it makes services a lot easier for clients, for individuals, for families. It makes it a lot easier for them to connect to, so that they know where to go, and that by our collaboration and our partnerships that we have with different folks around LA County, it allows us as a system for everyone to know where they need to go and who they need to call. So, for example, we do a lot of ride-alongs with the sheriff's department as outreach teams. We want to make sure that we can be there together in partnership to make sure that if there is an individual out there, that we know how to handle that individual with the utmost care. So we also have what we call multidisciplinary teams that have a nurse and a doctor and a mental health specialist and a substance abuse specialist that can also go along with the sheriff's department, with our outreach teams, to make sure that if that person isn't quite ready to get into housing, but they're open to get some services, that we can have a nurse there if they have an open wound that maybe they haven't taken care of. It allows us to establish that trust with them. And we've, as a system, have been able to grow this and grow the services that we provide as a system to those that we serve to those that we find on the street. In SPA 7, in this area, as I mentioned, we have there, so in the coordinated entry system, there's single adults, there's families, and our youth. And these are the transitional age youth, as I mentioned, with Homelessness. They serve as the lead. But again, we work in partnership with them. Families, the whole child serves as the lead, and PATH and our LCAs that Tomas mentioned we serve as the lead in the SPA 7 area. So what to expect? As I mentioned before, our approach is that there's a no wrong door approach. We want to make sure that we can meet whoever we engage with wherever they are. They may not be ready. It may take us years to get someone into housing, but our goal is to make sure that they get into housing, whether it takes us 1 month or whether it takes us 5 years. We're going to continue to go out there and engage with them. We want to make sure that we can connect them with the services that they need, mental health services or substance abuse services or food services. We want to make sure that they have that, and they can have someone that they can talk with, and we can find out exactly what they need. And then we also want to make sure that we can bring them along the continuum where, like I said, we meet them where they're at, and our ultimate goal is to get them into housing. So we help them along that journey through multiple touches in the community. So as Tomas mentioned as well, the services that we offer, so outreach really is the first step that we take when we can identify, that we have our families that are what we consider more hidden because they will stay with, they will be doubled up together, or they might, the children might be in school, so you don't see them as much during the day when our outreach teams are out there. So we do make sure that we work with our partner agencies, we work with businesses, we work with schools. We want to educate them about what we can do and how we can identify the families. For the individuals, a lot of times we will see them in our outreach efforts when we go out into different hotspots that we've identified in certain areas, or if we get referrals through the LA HOP system. We're able to go out there and utilize our outreach teams to identify those individuals, engage with them, and then start the process of getting them into permanent housing. We do those screenings, we do the assessments. The assessments really allow us to determine the best resources possible for those individuals. And then, of course, provide the case management. We keep going back. We want to make sure that they can understand that we're there to help them, even though it might be very difficult for them to establish that trust, especially if they've been on the street for quite some time. A lot of them have formed relationships on the street with other folks. So we want to make sure and encourage them and let them know that we're there to help them all, and that we're not there to split up their friendships or the relationships that they've had, that our ultimate goal is no matter how we can get you into housing, whether it be by yourself or with someone that you've established a relationship with on the street. And then making sure that we follow what we call the housing first rule. A lot of folks, we have people that ask us, well, how come you don't help them with substance abuse or mental health services first? Research has shown that someone is not going to be successful with mental health or substance abuse issues if they're not permanently housed, if they don't have a housing environment or stable home environment that they can go to. So our goal is to get them into housing as quickly as possible so that we can address those other issues that they might have. People say, well, you know, sometimes they don't want to get help because all they have is a substance abuse issue. Well, a lot of times what's happened is they didn't have that before they got on the street, and that's their survival mode. So we need to make sure that we can provide them with that stable home environment so that we can address those other issues that have most likely gotten exacerbated because of the homeless experience that they've had. That's it.
Good job.
Honorable Mayor, Member City Council, so at this point, I'd like to thank our panel again, appreciate it. I also want to thank, oh, we do?
We do, I'm sorry.
Okay, my apologies, and I do want to thank, though, Principal Alex Gutierrez for allowing us to use his home. Sorry, Lassen.
Good evening. How you doing, everybody? Pat pretty much said a lot of the things that I was going to say. My name's Gilbert Jimenez. I'm with Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. Been working with the homeless population for the past 15 years. And I recently got transferred out here and have the privilege of supervising the team that works in Hawaiian Gardens. And I'm very familiar with the community. I live very local. I shop at Food for Less. I shop at the 99-cent store. I shop at CVS. I eat at Adelitas. I have a lot invested in this city, although I'm not from the city. I live very local, and pretty much what Pat was saying is, so I have supervised a team that outreaches in the city on Mondays, Fridays, and Thursdays. What we do is we go out on the streets and we gauge with individuals and kind of meet them where they're at, just like Pat was saying, is we meet them where they're at and build that trust level. You know, when we meet someone on the streets, I think it's important to understand the concept of what outreach really is. It takes time to build a rapport with individuals that are homeless on the street. They're not always going to trust us at the first time that we meet them. And it's not always about shelter. The last thing that we want to say in our conversation to a homeless person is, are you homeless and do you want to go to a shelter? That's more towards the end of the conversation. Like Pat was saying, we meet them where they're at and whatever their need may be at the time. My team, what we do is we help individuals we can help people get an ID if they want to get an ID. If they're interested in going to a detox, we can help them get into detox. If they disclose that they struggle with mental health and want to be connected with mental health, we work closely with PATH. We reach out to PATH, I send a referral to them, and they have the DMH team come out and meet with the client. So we pretty much offer a lot of services where they're at, what they're requesting, and we work closely with PATH. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to go into oral communications. This is the time reserved for members of the public wishing to speak on items on the agenda, except for those public hearing items. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. Upon conclusion of oral communications, the city council or city staff, at the direction of the mayor, may respond to any questions or statements that were presented by members of the public. The city council is prohibited by law from discussing or taking any actions on items presented during oral communications. They are not on the agenda. So oral communications now is officially open, and you do have 3 minutes per speaker.
So I actually, first of all, my name is Luis Roa, and I'm running for city council along with some other colleagues here present. And I want to take this opportunity to address all of you here tonight with regards to some of the issues that are going on here in the community, but especially the dirty politics that have been hit this week, addressing myself and Jesse Alvarado.
Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me, I'm sorry. The Brown Act doesn't allow campaign type discussions.
I'm not campaigning, but it's
Excuse me, sir, if I could finish my
it's
statement.
with regards to the homeless issue.
Okay, so, great, that'd be great. So if we could limit our public discussions, our public comments to just the agenda item, which is the homeless plan.
Exactly, and
refrain from
that's
any
what I'm
campaign.
referring to.
Okay,
I
thank
just
you.
want to make it clear that I am not building a 3-story homeless shelter that was sent out to the community this weekend. I just wanted to make that statement clear. Okay, and I just want to remind everybody that the 3 people that voted for this homeless plan was Mr. Barry Bruce, Mariana Rios, and Hank Trimble. Thank you.
Yes. Hey, that's enough. We're not gonna stab this stuff here. That's okay.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council and City Council. My name is Monica Rodriguez. I'm standing here in front of you to talk about what happened, something that happened last week, and it is dealing with the homeless. Like Luis said, people are saying that we're wanting to build a 3-story homeless shelter, and they received a call, a scary, spooky call that had sirens in the background, and it honestly scared our residents. It made them feel like they were in danger, and we want to just make it clear that that is not true. And like Luis said, there are 3 city council members that did approve of this plan, Mariana Rios, Barry Bruce, and Hank Trimble. And it's not that we're against the homeless. We just want to make sure that this plan is edited and it's benefiting only the homeless. I just needed to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jesse Alvarado. They already said enough about that. We're not building anything in here. So one of the things that, like they said, that there's a plan in place here, okay? And what's created? Let me read it here. It says, City of Hawaiian Gardens 5-year plan to address homelessness, adopted by City Council, July 31st, 2018. Okay, we don't have a problem helping the residents that are financially challenged here, or people that need help, like Chris Apodaca was mentioning. We're all on board for that. We want to help people that need help and they want help. We're talking about the people that are on drugs, mentally challenged, that don't want help. They want to be in the streets. You want to have homeless people all over the parks? We see it happening. We haven't started with the plan already, and it's happening. How about people that own businesses? You want people going to restaurants or beauty salon? Do you want that? Do you want homeless outside your house, or maybe behind a parking lot behind your house? Do you want, we had a meeting at the seniors at the mobile home park, and we got some people there, older folks. They, you know what? We're concerned. There's people coming in here in bicycles. Things are missing. There's a riverbed next to it. So, people sleeping in the back. That's not what we want. We want to help people that are challenged, financial challenged, but people that want help, that need help and want help, not those that want help. They just want food, and they want out and about. People are scared. We haven't got started with this plan. And now, this plan is approved by, again, Mr. Barry Bruce, Mariana Rios, Hank Trimble. And those that are out there at home watching this live, well, I challenge you to read this thing, this plan. Read it. And you'll see it talks about a shelter, about beds. You read it, and you'll find out. You'll figure it out. But now what other people are saying to discourage honest elected officials, honest candidates that want to do the right things in our community. The same, councilmen, they approve the terrible trash company. I mean, we're all dealing with trash problems right now for the last...
This has nothing to do with the homeless.
No,
You should sit down now.
With you guys. You guys selected the
Yeah,
trash company?
this is
Yeah, but
about
let
trash
me
now.
speak
We're at a town hall for
We have a mayor
homelessness.
that calls the shots
We have a
here, not you.
definition of why we're here. Please sit
Exactly,
down
yeah.
if you
No,
can't
you're not the
speak to
mayor.
the
That's it,
issue.
time
Stick
is
to the
up.
rules.
All right.
Time is up, Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Rinaldo. So back in the day, we had a casino, that we tried to open a casino here.
Hey, no, it's
All right,
your
so
3
thank
minutes
you very
are
much.
up,
Have a
Jesse.
great day. Night.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, again, just to make this clear for everyone wishing to speak, tonight's meeting is a special meeting. It's not a regularly scheduled meeting. So special meetings, you can only speak on agendized items, and tonight's agendized item is discussion of the homeless plan. So any other discussions are not appropriate to be discussed tonight at this special meeting. Thank you.
Okay, once again, my name is Mike Laughlin. I live on 212th and Norwalk. I have two potential solutions to some of the homeless problems and one small rant. It won't take me but 3 minutes. We'll start with the rant. I don't know how many of you understand the acronym NIMBY, but all of the meetings I've been to, I keep hearing this. We need to find shelter for these homeless people, but not in my backyard. We need to feed these homeless people, but not in my backyard. That's just going to bring more of them. We need to have mental health services for these homeless people, but not in my backyard, somewhere else. If we don't take care of them in our own backyard, nobody else is going to, and they're still going to be homeless. So let's be kind, and if I can use the word Christian, and take care of these people in our backyard. Okay, solutions. I read yesterday a LA Times online article that was taken from the Chicago Tribune. They actually have hired a social worker at the library. That's where a lot of the homeless hang out. That's where they spend their time because it's sheltered, it's cool in the summer, warm in the winter. And they've hired a social worker to be where the homeless are in the library. This is something maybe we can look at for our library. And I've got the article, I'll leave it with the city council. The second one is, we've talked about, the politically correct word is faith-based organizations, churches, okay? The churches within Hawaiian Gardens helping the homeless. Can we reach out to those beyond our city boundaries? An example would be the Crossroads Multinational Church up on Delamo in Norwalk. They have a food bank. They work with the homeless. They have an outreach program. I was hoping they'd be here tonight because I talked with them yesterday and they said they'd try to be here. There's a lot of churches that border our boundaries that could also be of assistance to the homeless. Two solutions for you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Joe Cabrera Zarmeño, 21920, 21926, same avenue. Earlier, the school trustee said Measure H. I'm not an initiate to the entire conversation, and I'm sure that most everyone else is not. And I'm sure most everyone else is not. Could you please inform us what Measure H is? Where these funds, I'm presuming funds come from? I'm hearing testimony that this has been approved by Rios, Bruce, and Trimble. What's been approved? The cooperation with PATH, is that what was approved? And as a faith-based organization, all I'm hearing is Christian. We have a Hindu temple down here. We have Muslims. We have Jewish people. This cannot solely be a faith-based hallelujah, like so many of our councilmen are, effort. The other thing is, who's paying PATH? And is that money being funneled through Bruce's Way Out Ministries organization, a nonprofit? Is Bruce, did you start a new nonprofit to organize and obtain money to obtain monies from the state and the government, feds, whatever, in recent and for this? Because we all know you have Kathleen Nevejas on your board of directors, who is very infamous for nonprofits. That's why we got rid of her by a 3-to-1 basis. And then the other thing is, I'm hearing the very last thing about the housing, and then other residents brought it up about housing, and somebody saying this, somebody saying that. No one here is saying we don't want to help the homeless. We're not Trumpers. We have hearts. But like this gentleman said, not in my backyard. I don't want to see needles. I don't want to see homeless people fighting with the neighbors, because now apparently the law is legal. They can park themselves on your sidewalk right in front of your house with all their things, and you can't do a thing. Correct? So my main thing is, where's the money for this? We all know it's going to take a lot of people, professionals in their fields, especially mental people. Nothing against them. They are much more of an effort to take care of. Where's this money coming from, and who's it being funneled to?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Anna Rodriguez, and I actually have a couple of questions and a story in association with the questions. So I was looking at this form that from ABC Unified School District in regards to the homelessness youth numbers. Now, I did notice one thing in regards to the second little box. I noticed Ferguson Elementary is not on this list. Does that mean Ferguson has no homeless children here? In regards to that, also above the first little box, I noticed that you guys have other zip codes on there. Well, that belongs to LA, Downey, Bellflower, Paramount, and Long Beach. How is it that those cities' homeless children are getting counted in ABC School District? Why aren't they in their school district? I'm not saying that they can't be here, but that does make a difference. That does not mean that they're here from this area. So that brings up our count number, for homelessness. Now, in regards to the fears that everybody's going through in the homelessness, I can give you a personal story. 2 years ago, my mother helped this lady. She was crazy. I'm sorry, mentally ill, not crazy. Please forgive me. She would be around Ferguson. Now, my mother and my sister would take pictures of her, urinating on the street. My mother felt really sorry for her, so would end up giving her a jacket. I would come home, I would see her, didn't really think anything of it. My mom would give her food. Well, one day, and I just happened to be home, my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt were outside. This lady got mad at my mother because she didn't want to give her $1. Now, right away, my grandmother was scared, and me not knowing who it was, I walked out there and not judging, not even knowing she was mentally ill, confronted her, how dare you, talk to my mother like that? I don't care who you are, but it's things like that that scare the residents. That's why they have fear. It's not because of these robocalls or the flyers that are being sent out. It's because people have experienced that. So I want to know, so when you guys say that, yes, people are in fear and not in your own backyard, well, that's because a lot of these people have experienced it. So thank you.
I've got a better one for you. My son and I just recently, the other day, we went over to Save-On's over here, and we went to pick up a prescription. When I went into their restroom, I mind you, it was filthy, and there's a reason behind this. It was really dirty. No toilet paper, no nothing. It was a mess. So then I went out there because they told me to let the girl at the register know. So when I did, she turned around and said, "It must have been that homeless woman." And my son and I looked at each other because we seen the woman who was homeless pushing the cart. She was not dirty. She was decent, but yet she was trying to blame her. And I said, "Excuse me, but that bathroom looked like, no, it was not attended to at all." I said the trash bin was overloaded, and it was just messy. They didn't clean it up. And I told my son, so we gave a call because it says if you have any complaints or anything, we decided to make that call because we felt, you can't blame it on the person. That was wrong. First of all, she shouldn't have said anything. But because my son and I happened to see this woman go out, and we noticed that, who she was at the time, And I thought, you don't do that. You know, that was wrong. She didn't even have to tell us that. I don't even know why she even told us this. But we did have the receipt, like I said, and we did make the call to file a complaint against her for that reason alone. Because I thought, you cannot blame the homeless people for everything. Everybody wants to sit and pick on them all the time. It's not always the homeless people. There are many other people that leave messes in trash cans, garbage on the floor, and everything. It's much easier to blame the homeless. I'm sorry. And if it was any of your family, I'm sure you wouldn't be snitching up on them that your family made a mess on the floor. You know, it's like, please stop blaming the homeless once and for all. It's ridiculous. I don't know what everybody's problem is. If your family ended up out in the street, I'm sure you would be sitting here right now defending them fully.
Hi, City Council. My name is Sal Flores. I work for the Moskowitz Companies. And just so happened I got here a little bit late, as you noticed. But right here on Norwalk and Carson, there was a gentleman there barefooted, no shirt, on the median in the middle, with a sign asking for money, dancing around and all that. Luckily, he was on the other side. I was in the other lane. Just last week, my stepdaughter lives on Clarkdale. She had a homeless in the backyard who wouldn't leave. Luckily, her boyfriend came by and chased him out. Elizabeth, you said that you're doing all the service for the homeless, which is great. We feed a lot of homeless to our food bank. We used to have about 22 walk-ups, between 20 and 25 walk-ups a day. Now we have about 100. They tell us they're bussed in. Everybody has to sign in. We get them from East LA, Riverside, Colton, Cypress, Artesia, all over, Long Beach. Some of them even tell us where they got their bus passes from other nonprofits. You know, and we only have so much money to feed. We feed about 1,500 families here in Hawaiian Gardens, so we might have to cut back on them. But, you know, we always help the homeless. The Moskowitz have always been for the needy, as most of you here know. And I want to ask Sergeant over there, Tom, we had a gentleman at the food bank, in fact, we have it on film, with a dog the other day, threatening our employees, which, you know, are all women, a couple of men, but they were outside delivering to different places they take the food to. And I know we call you, there really isn't much you can do, is there? There's a lady laying on the sidewalk. What can you do about that? That's legal, I guess they tell us. The guy with the dog, they finally got him out, but I guess you could do, what are you going to do with him? You guys got real crime to solve. And it's great to help the homeless, but why should we bust them in? Let's take care of our own. Like Chris said, we've always had homeless here in our school district. I know for a fact, one year we had like 4 at Whitney High School when I was the chairman of the foundation for the ABC. But, you know, all the schools, they go up and on. Somebody mentioned that this school didn't have any this year. Well, maybe we were lucky we didn't have any this year here. But I know in the past they have. So that's what I'm worried about. And as far as building a place, there is no place to build here in Hawaiian Gardens. You know? What are you going to build on top of City Hall? So, you know, that's about it. And I wish you guys would patrol the parking lots at night more, because we had to put on extra security at the bingo and the casino because they're getting panhandling. You know, they're out there in the streets. So, Elizabeth, can you answer me? What are you doing for the community? Help the community? I know you're helping the homeless, but what about security of the community? And the kids, during the day, they're scared to go outside. We have to address that.
She won't be able to answer until everybody finishes.
Hello, is this on? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Jaleesa. I used to work at the ICES after-school program, and a lot of these, I'm sorry. I used to work at the after-school program called ICES, and there was a lot of homeless children, many of which would get bullied because they would get extra snacks that my manager would give them. So my question is the City of Hawaiian Gardens doing anything to give to the children who are in the after-school program? So many of them, like I said, got bullied. And so that was just my concern and my question, and I hope that it will be addressed. It's an issue that, these children, they tell me, and they say, my parents left me at home for since like 2, 3 in the morning, and I didn't have anything to eat. And so, just like those extra snacks can be their dinner quite often. And so, yeah, that was just my question. Thank you.
I'd like to see some of those funds go to the district, because like Chris Apodaca said, that they only receive $10,000 a year to help the homeless children or homeless family. Also, there was a comment made about having PATH, maybe some type of social services at the library. Well, why can't they have the PATH at the library then? To me, we have a lot of Hispanic families, and I don't know how comfortable they would feel going to a certain religious place, facility, in comparison going to their own, religious facility. So I'd rather have it be somewhere neutral, or have one at each facility, each religious facility. I mentioned the fact that why not at the city hall, which, a lot of people go to find out about recreation services, senior services. So I thought maybe having a PATH services might be very convenient for our community members. But the library sounds like a good place, because I know a lot of families go to the library. So maybe that might be a good option. Anything else? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rosie Gomez. When she's talking about the library, I'm part of the Friends of the Library, and we just had a Halloween thing going on this past weekend, and she's right. There are homeless people that go there all the time, so that would be a perfect spot to have somebody sit there. And in fact, I know of a family that has been going to the library for, I think I've seen her 2 years now. And they do live in a motorhome, and that's where they go to the library, park there, and then spend their time in the library, and then they leave in the evening. So try it. Also, I want to know, okay, we're talking about homeless. Now, in your terms as far as homeless, are we only helping the people that are legal here? Or what about the people that aren't legally here? I mean, they can become homeless also. So does your program provide help for them also? Or are they just on their own out there if they happen to lose their apartment or their room? A lot of them live in rooms with children. So also, I want to know what happened to this young lady over here. She's been going to council meetings. She's been coming to all these meetings. And I asked her right now, have they helped you yet? No. Well, what's going on? You have the money. Why aren't you using it? Okay? This is ridiculous. She's been asking for help, and nobody's helped her yet. So try doing that. And I hope that this doesn't turn into a big political argument at the end, because I'm sick of hearing all the bullying that goes on. Because we stand up here and talk, we get bullied. I, for one, do not take bullying very well, so they better not. Thank you.
How you doing? I was wondering if there's going to be any kind of funding maybe for the sheriff's department. Being homeless doesn't make you above the law. And everybody knows the 7-Eleven. And I can't now, tell you how many times I've made that turn and I've had my daughter in the back seat say, "Hey, Dad, the guy had a needle in his leg." We need to put the kids first. Let's help those guys if they want it. But you know what? At some point, we need to find some way to help these guys out, either extra funding from. That's not legal. You can't do it in your own home. If I get caught walking down the street drinking a beer, I'm getting an open container ticket. These guys are hanging out in the gas station, drinking all day. They're at the liquor store behind it. Carburetor Shop has put up a fence that kind of, blocks them from being on their sidewalk. But something needs to be done about these guys doing drugs, drinking in public. Hopefully, this is going to focus more on the families, individuals, the kids of our community. Most of those guys, let's help them if they want it, but at the same time, we got to do some kind of enforcing. And I don't know if the program, or your guys' program, has any kind of funding to help the sheriff's department do that, or if the city can do that.
Seeing nobody else, we'll close oral communication. Oh, we have one more.
Okay, on the, for the housing and stuff, my friend right here has been trying for housing, and they have rejected her numerous times, and she needs help also.
No, actually, no, I got help. I was.
Oh, that's right, I'm
receiving
sorry.
housing.
Then
I got terminated because I'm disabled, and I got terminated because of that. I'm brain injured, I'm spinal cord injured, and I got terminated. What do you guys have me?
Yeah, I'm aware of her situation. Now, her situation is this. She's,
I don't,
all right.
Okay, and then I have
Okay,
another question. I'm not done yet.
One more, or otherwise I'm going to close the oral communications.
I'm not done.
Okay.
With the food bank, you keep on saying that they're busing in people, they're not. Okay, I myself went to the cities where they give out food. They do over there at the church that you talked about.
Can you please stand up?
I can't stand for long.
Okay, that's okay.
Over there on Norwalk and Del Amo, the church you talked about, they do have a food bank there. They have a food bank in Cerritos. They have a food bank in Lakewood. I went down there. They're not sending them over here to get food. You're having your own homeless that are here that say, yeah, if they need food, give it to it. You know, if they ask you, I know there's the ones that are drugged out who are out there that do need help. Need to give them some resources. Hopefully someone could take them somewhere, because there are a lot out there. But most of them are not bad like everybody thinks. They're just bad on their luck, and they need a break. A friend of mine had took in someone, they found a job. She got a job, and she's on her feet now, but she still lives with them and until she gets enough to move out. Those people need help, and then with their kids also. So, and then what is the whole agenda of a plan that could start now for them, for all the homeless out there? You know, that's what
Good evening. My name is Danny De Paula. I think the problem of homelessness is not going to go away unless we do something. Personally, I have my plan. So if you're going to go with me, then that would be better. My plan is I'm going to continue assisting the people who are experiencing homelessness and lead them to these people. Tomorrow, one of the persons that I'm assisting will be meeting with Lhasa because now she's ready to go through rehab. And that's a good thing. It took a long way, but that's a good thing. Number two, I texted the principal of one of the schools here that we're going to identify those children, and among our group, we are going to help them. We're going to provide a good Christmas experience for them, for these 10 children. That is my plan. So if we have 30 people here, if we could do something, then we're leading to the path to end homelessness. If we are not going to do something, people who are experiencing homelessness will still going to be homeless. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I called the whole child, and to them, I was not homeless enough because I had a roof over my head, and I have a certain time that I have to get out of the room that I'm renting right now with my grandmother, my 2 kids, and my mom. I want to help out everybody. I'm with Dandy. I go and volunteer with Dandy because I want to help out the homeless, the mothers like me, the the single people that that need somewhere to go. We're all human, and I just want you guys to, hopefully you guys come to an agreement for everybody, just because I'm not panhandling. Like I said, I'm homeless. I don't have a house. My kid tells me, he goes, Mom, when am I gonna have my own house? And just a couple days ago, my little boy, he had $5 that his Nino had given to him. He gave it to the homeless. Why? Because us people here in Hawaiian Gardens, we have good hearts. We want to help out everybody. At least I do. If I have extra blankets, if I have extra beanies, that little much that I have extra, I'm going to help out somebody that has not as much luck as me, because at least, I have a roof, but it is not a home, and I am homeless. I have not had a solid address in 7 years. I'm from place to place. You guys really think about it.
Okay, seeing nobody else, I will close the oral communications. And I will open up the board over there. If you want to ask them any questions, right now is the time to do so.
Actually, Mayor, may I make a recommendation, because we do have some time restraints for the room. What we'll do, if you allow it, is there was actually a lot of specific questions today that there wasn't the last couple meetings. So we will work with LASA and with Pat to answer those in detail. I can provide some very general comments to some of the questions that were asked, and then we can take council input, and then we do have a couple items left on the agenda, so if that's okay.
Go
That
ahead.
way, the members of the public here today, and then members of the public who couldn't join us today, can get questions and answers to everything that was asked today and all the other two meetings. And we'll post those on the website, and we'll have them available in the front desk of City Hall. But that way, we'll be able to coordinate not only the city's staff answer, but also the answer with LASA or the sheriff's department, because it involves a whole bunch of bodies. But just very generic, I want to say Measure H was a county quarter-cent sales tax that's going to raise $355 million over the next 10 years to address homelessness. So
And that's
March,
per year, right?
actually, that's the total amount. So or is that per year? Per year? Okay,
Per
so
year.
I don't know how to add, but I don't know what a quarter tax in LA County was. That probably it's a ton of money. But essentially, the voters approved that in March of 2017 to address homelessness. And we're on the path now to finally making those resources available. So just very broad kind of look at what Measure H is, but it's a county tax. The city has only received, of those monies, $30,000 to apply for a grant. And we are currently in the process of an RFP that I'll speak to in a second. The issues with 7-Eleven, the gentleman in the back, that is a constant issue we have to deal with. The most difficult part about that issue is that is not Hawaiian Gardens. That is City of Lakewood, and I would, well, he probably would get mad at me if the admin staff in Lakewood, but if you're having issues with Lakewood 7-Eleven, you should go to Lakewood City Council meetings and express those issues, because they seem not to understand that they have a homeless problem. And so we, the Lakewood Station Sheriff's deputies, support both cities, so they do respond in both situations, but it's difficult for us as city staff and as the city council to make policy decisions on that area because we can't. Outside of putting a giant wall there that says Lakewood, most people don't even know that it's Lakewood. So that's all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. So I do want to clarify, because I've been answering some questions on Facebook, staff has, that this city council has not neither discussed now or have any plans to build a shelter in the city. I know that issue keeps coming up, but there's absolutely no plans for that, and so I do want to make that clear. And then at the last city council meeting, the city council, 5 members, as Trustee Apodaca provided, directed staff to apply for a county RFP to get Measure H resources. So it's a matching fund type grant, but essentially we are going to work with the school district to apply for a grant where we can collaborate. Now, these monies are for the city, not for the school district, because the school district has their own processes and procedures. But we can coordinate and take advantage of the caseworkers that they have to help the children, because those are our children. I can tell you that when you're dealing with children and school districts, it's always whose kids are they? In other cities I've been at, this is my 6th city, But here in Hawaiian Gardens, that is different. It's really our children. And so that I can appreciate, and I think it makes this process easier. And that's probably why you see that this city and this school district, ABC Unified, is willing to work together, whereas as of yesterday, no other city in the county is even looking at a collaborative approach with their school district to address this issue. The other direction staff got, which again speaks to the gentleman in the back, was we are asking for resources, training for our sheriff deputies and for our city staff on dealing with the homeless, how to approach them, how to refer them to the appropriate referral systems. The county system, as you know, is a very large program, and without these dedicated resources, we can't get every single deputy that works in the city trained. And so that's part of what we're going to apply for in this RFP grant for homeless issues. Okay. So at this point, unless there's a question specific from the city council can comment.
Yeah, I can make some responses to some questions that I made notes of that were asked. It was asked what Rios, Bruce, and Trimble voted for. What we voted for was that we were interested in getting Measure H money. That's what we wanted. There was an application process, and we wanted to be able to apply for that Measure H money for our city because we realized that we have a homelessness problem. That's basically what we voted for. 3 of us voted for it, 2 voted against it. If the 2 would have had their way, we would not even be getting any money at all. Okay, so that's why we voted for it. I think it was a good decision, and I still would stand by and make the same decision. I know that PATH, LASA, the Way Out Ministries, anybody that's doing anything for the homeless in our city would be more than happy to invite any faith-based group or otherwise to join us. The coalition of the City of Hawaiian Gardens that I started for homelessness a long time ago is not faith-based. It's anybody, everybody, whoever wants to come. This is a huge problem, people. I don't know why anyone would have a problem with any faith-based group doing anything or any non-faith-based group doing anything. We're talking about people here, and we're talking about helping people. People of all faiths, people of all backgrounds, people that are experiencing homelessness. So I don't know what all that fuss is about, but we would welcome anybody. Sal, you did mention that there are 100 per day coming into your place to get food. It's increased radically, you say. They're coming from all over. You named some cities. If there's a reason why more people that are experiencing homelessness that are coming to our city on buses, then it's probably because the methadone clinic is in our city. And people are sending them to get their drugs. That's why they're coming from all over, people, because we have a methadone clinic. We also have a problem with our methadone clinic. People that sell heroin camp out there, and they get people that are going into the methadone clinic to get them rehooked on heroin, okay? It's not good for our city. I don't like it. I don't want it there. But that's why we're getting people bussed in. We might also be getting people bussed in because people don't want them in their city, and they just figure that they'll just send them off to Hawaiian Gardens. This has been a long time practice in cities. It's despicable, but it goes on. Still, nothing that Hawaiian Gardens is doing about it. We're just simply trying to reach the homeless that come here, as the lady said. Again, the narrative about the homeless shelter being built in Hawaiian Gardens is just ridiculous. It's political. It's completely political. And it's not factual. Okay? It's being used to cause the public to fear so that they will make rash decisions on voting. It's a false narrative. Anybody that comes to your house and talks about someone building a homeless shelter, they're liars. You shouldn't listen to them. Because if there was a homeless shelter that was going to be built, our city manager would know about it. Our development director, Joe Colombo back there, he would know about it, okay? The city council would know about it. And eventually, because zoning laws have to be changed, you, the city, would know about it. The reason there is nothing is because there is nothing. But a lot of smack. And it's getting ridiculous, yeah, with everything from political rhetoric, people going door to door and saying despicable things that are untrue, taking the homeless people and making them some sort of sport for their political gain. It's wrong. And robocalls, yeah, I heard that stupid robocall too. It's ridiculous. I've heard things that I haven't even imagined. And I was like, where did this come from? More stories, lies beget more lies, and then gossip. And it's just, and it's sad because what's happened is this narrative started with council members and it's continued. And the council member, every single council member up here knows there is no shelter. There is no way. Talk to our development director. Right, Joe? Is there a shelter program that is on your desk? A map, a plan? No, of course not. Can't happen without our development director knowing it. Can't happen with our city manager knowing it. Please, I hope you guys will realize if people can lie to you about that, they can lie to you about everything. Please, think while you're voting on November 6th. Chalisa, I'm sorry. The city will do whatever we can to help any kids that we find out are homeless or experiencing homelessness. If we're made known of it, the City of Hawaiian Gardens, PATH, the Way Out Ministries, the school district, ABC, we all want to help. Not everybody wants to help. You can see that. But look at all these people that want to help, and I think we should applaud them. Because it's a problem that is everywhere, and it's affecting everybody. Look at the notes. I mean, I took some notes here. Okay, first of all, 21 homeless count. That's what everyone keeps saying. We only have 21 homeless in Hawaiian Gardens. Wow, we've improved. No, just look at the numbers on here. Hawaiian Gardens, 32 children. 32 children in Hawaiian Gardens are homeless. Every one of those kids has some parent, one or two parents. That's already bigger than our homeless count, isn't it? Let's just do some math, people. Those people that were counted out on the streets in cars and things like that night, those 21 people, those are mostly just adults sleeping by themselves. They're not even kids. The problem is big, much bigger, and it changes from day to day because, like Chris Apodaca said so profoundly, one day they're sleeping in Artesia, the next day they're sleeping in Hawaiian Gardens. And now there are homeless. They were there homeless, but now there are homeless. And then the next day it might change again. This is a problem that we all need to be concerned of and be doing something together as a team to meet the needs. I'm very pleased at our last meeting because I'm so frustrated, and you guys saw it if you watched the last meeting. I'm so frustrated with the rhetoric and the political meandering that I didn't even want to look at the grant that was on the table for the City of Hawaiian Gardens, another homeless grant. I was like, oh my gosh, really, Ernie? Why do you have to bring this up now? But it again had another deadline date. And I just said, forget it. I don't even want to look at it. And Mariana here said, no, I want to see what's possible. And I thought, oh gosh, it's going to be another 45 minutes to an hour. And we're going to get nowhere. But fortunately, she did bring it up. Fortunately, she persuaded me to second it. And we ended up requesting monies for our law enforcement and for children in our schools that are homeless. Well, good. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad I, stopped and didn't give up. Because we need the money. And we can use the money. And the money's there, sitting there. But as Mike Laughlin so perfectly said, right? We all have this attitude. And the attitude that we have is, what did you say, NIMBY? Not in my backyard. That's exactly the problem. That's why homelessness is growing, and that's why people are not being, their needs are not being met. That's why, because nobody wants to do it. But we all, as taxpayers, wanted to throw money at it, didn't we? We're really good at throwing money at things. But when it comes down to actually caring, we're not so good. Other questions that were asked. is why are the faith-based groups helping Path? I think you meant the Way Out Ministries. Because the Way Out Ministries is doing it. Path comes to the city, they look around for someone to help them. Who's doing anything? Oh, the Way Out Ministries is doing something. And we say, come on, Path, we're going to get you a desk. We're going to set you right here. That's why they came to us. They didn't come to the library because the library didn't invite them. They didn't come to the city at the time because the city didn't invite them. Okay, we started a homeless coalition, and Path started working with the city more closely than ever before because of the coalition. And then when any faith-based organization or anybody that comes to Path and says that we'd like to help out, they're going to just say, great. I don't understand what the hate is for faith-based organizations. Well, I'm sorry if you have a problem with faith, but we have faith in our community. We're a community, a big community of people of faith, okay? And people of faith want to do what Scripture says in this particular case. People at the Way Out Ministries that go there, they don't complain about the homeless. Volunteers that work at the Way Out, they don't complain about homeless. We don't have this kind of rhetoric going back and forth. We just have people that want to help. And that's why. It's the least path of resistance, right, Tomas? I mean, why do we want to go to a place where there's so much resistance if we can find a place that's saying, hey, we're opening our doors to you? It just makes sense. But I'm all for having a social worker at the library. Kudos to that. I think that's a great idea too. Again, we can't have enough help. And honestly, if the city gets the money, we can do that. Another good reason for that. Let's beef up law enforcement. I agree. That's why we got training for law enforcement. I'm all for helping law enforcement do their job. But people, we have to do our job. If somebody is breaking the law, then you need to call and report it. You need to stand by your call, and you need to do something about it. You can't just complain about it. If they don't get the call, or if the person is gone when they get there, what are they supposed to do? You know, conjure them up somehow, bring them in. You can't do that. We all can report things, and we can, if there's crime, report it. And people are responsible for their own crime. This lady, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. You were the one that was sitting down. You said, is the city going to have a plan to do something to help people? Well, that's what the homelessness plan is. That's what these 3 meetings have been about. We are attempting to do that. And finally, I just want to say, Mr. Dandy, I applaud you in your attitude that you're going to help the homeless in your own way as you can do it. And you encourage other people to do that. All I would add to that is please be a networker. Network. And I know, Mr. Dandy, you do. You come to the coalition meetings, and because the more resources we have, the better we network, the better we can all attack the problem together. Faith-based, secular, whatever. Let's all meet the needs of the problem that is growing. And finally, Lorena, I'm sorry, you're the last one I have written on here. I'm sorry that you're not considered homeless enough, but you do have a home, and you have a roof over your head. For you, that's a good thing. But there are a lot of people out there that do not have a roof over their head at all. They're not eating well. Those are first priority people. I'm sorry. It has to be that way because the problem is so big. And yes, if you become homeless and you don't have a roof over your head, all of a sudden you'll go up on the priority list. It's a sad thing to say that, but that's where we're at with this problem. It's not getting smaller, it's getting bigger.
To be out in 10 minutes, so make it as brief as possible.
I'll go ahead and make my comments brief, and that is that
I know that I was urged to not have these meetings. I know I was urged to just kind of stand down on the homeless issue because obviously it's not politically correct. But I know that I was elected to serve this community, and I was elected to do the best that I could to serve the community. And I did feel bad at the last meeting. Thank you, Barry, for bringing it up, because I was like, wow, all that rhetoric about our homeless is actually coming down to having us not deal with the issue. I was one of the people that voted for the homeless plan. That is correct. I do not regret it. I believe that we have that money that could be accessed to our city, and I think that our residents can benefit from it. And what bigger success that we already approved a grant for $300,000 to help our school children, 32 of which are Hawaiian Gardens kids. Those children will be helped because I made a choice to say yes to a homeless plan. So I feel good about that. I hope the residents can understand that. My goal, as has been said, is to support the families and children in our community that do experience homelessness. I know we have many individuals here to support the other individuals, but that has been my goal, and that has not changed.
I'll make mine real quick. Go
ahead.
Yes, I'll make mine real brief. Joe, there is Measure H money, $245,000, $250,000. That's untouched until this plan that they're waving around. We take things out, we add things to. It's a workable plan, nothing set in stone. This beautiful panel here, professionals, they are on our home coalition. There's about 20 people, just as professional, just as bright. We have a beautiful thing to take people from Hawaiian Gardens, get them interviewed and see what medical attention they need, and then place them in other places. Not here. We're never gonna, that is just a lie. We're not gonna have nothing here. I was getting attacked because my church, along with Barry's, was supposed to be making profit off the $245,000 Measure H money, which is untouched. Barry does it out of his heart. That's what Christians do. That's what churches do. We don't have the facility. But I was getting yelled at. You want to take them to kids? You have kids, don't you? Can't you think about anything else but your wallet? You just want to profit. Now you want to take them to the library? Isn't there kids? There's more kids at the library permanently there, daily there. And now you want to take homeless to the library when we got a beautiful coalition, beautiful office at the way out that is doing the work with PATH, and it's fine. Then I hear, well, let's other churches outside Hawaiian Garden do it, not Hawaiian Garden churches. I mean, like, churches are going to help. The Measure H money is there, but we're not tapping into it because things are not all balanced out yet. Let me see. I'll leave it at that. We got, 5 more minutes.
Myra?
Yeah, I'll also make my comments brief. First, I want to thank all the community members that have been coming out to all the meetings. Your input has been very valuable to me in reevaluating how we can better assist our homeless population. I also want to thank our partners that have been out here on a weekly basis, on a day-to-day basis to assist people experiencing homelessness. And I also want to thank our deputies. They have been very instrumental in me assisting different businesses and residents experiencing difficulties with people experiencing homelessness. But I do want to also thank Mike. I also read that article in the LA Times about taking the services where homeless people are. And I don't know if all of you know, but I work in downtown Long Beach, and the issues related to homelessness have exponentially grown. Every day, walking from the parking structure to work, I pass a homeless encampment in the lobby. I know months before I started working, there were several issues there. On a weekly basis, we call the Sheriff's Department because of issues with the homeless. My office is located in the lobby level of City Hall, and even walking to lunch can be dangerous. One of my coworkers was attacked walking to her car, which was next to City Hall. My parking structure where I park is a block away. And I do understand why people like Anna and other individuals are scared because they have experienced things that are not easy to deal with. All of us obviously want to feel safe in our community, including our children and families. But that doesn't mean that we should obviously close our eyes to the problem. And I do want to thank Chris Apodaca, our trustee, because it's true what he's saying. We do have families here, and these numbers don't lie. And I don't know if Ferguson really doesn't have any homeless, or perhaps they haven't identified, but it's important to me that this being my home school where I attended and I spent a lot of time in this specific room, that we do help those families. And Lorena, just because you're not out in the streets doesn't mean we should stop trying to help you. Everyone here deserves a helping hand, including people like you. So I will do what I need to do to create better programs, expand the programs that work, eliminate programs that don't, to make funding available for people like you, because you are a member of my community, and I consider you a good neighbor. And so moving forward, when we revisit this homeless plan to see how we can better assist people experiencing homelessness, I want to take a lot of ideas that you have all given me, which I am so thankful for, because all I can do is listen. Not only going to the libraries, but we do have an amazing public safety center. We can potentially allocate one of those rooms so that the librarians can send people up to receive services. I think expanding to other churches is a great idea, because we want to make people feel comfortable in how they experience help within their own faith. I spoke to our community outreach liaison. She was not included in participating in the writing of this homeless plan. So I do intend to bring her in, because she does help a lot of people, and she does know a lot of people that perhaps don't go to our faith organizations like The Way Out and other organizations. And even though we may not have her at City Hall, perhaps we can put her at the Helen Rosa Center, at another center that's more conveniently located. I want to thank Julissa, right, Julissa? What you said is true, and that's something that I haven't really thought of, assisting our after-school program. So let's work together with our elementary schools and have them apply for the grant program that we have on a biannual basis to fund assisting with nutrition for our after-school program. So I would be happy to sit with all of our school principals and have them apply for this. Last but not least, I just want to, again, thank all of you for giving me all these amazing ideas and giving me the opportunity to hear you out. And thank you for being respectful in my opinions and just for being very inspirational to me. So I hope that moving forward, we can better address this issue now that I have been enlightened, like all of you, with these amazing presentations. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. I just want to say that this homeless shelter came up in the first meeting that we had with Janice Hahn's representatives. They came down, and we had the meeting up in above the library in the safety center. And it was stated that we had to have a homeless shelter. And I know that Mr. Trimble thought for sure that we did, that it was something that the county was imposing on us. And then towards the end of the meeting, I asked, is it a law that we have to do that? And she said no. So that's where this homeless shelter came. And so that was the end of
But
that.
that was clarified 2 months ago.
Well,
we knew 2 months ago there wasn't going to be no homeless shelter. But they said the green property is going to be a homeless shelter.
Excuse me.
Then the
I'm
teen
talking
center was going
about-
to be a homeless shelter.
Hey, would you mind?
And how did suddenly we become,
Hey, would you?
how did
don't
we
live here,
suddenly get
Sal.
payments coming to us personally for the homeless
Here we
shelter?
are, here.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because
don't
you're
justify
opening
your
up
lies.
a bunch of lies again. You started this thing, Ray, with Myra, and now you're continuing the narrative. It's over. It's done. It was decided in the
Here we
beginning.
go. Hey, now the community sees what's going on
Yeah,
out here.
we can see
You know.
very clearly
Okay,
what's
now,
going on. My God.
next thing that I want to say is that there is not a member in the community who is against homeless shelters for our needed kids and families. They are 100% behind that. The problem is, okay, so we do have many people living in automobiles. We have some, I know there's 2 motorhomes on my street, and there's are scattered around, and there's vans and so on. Now, these people have been here for years, months, or whatever. How come nobody have ever approached them and asked them if they need help? We have many of our homeless there on the street. They're the same ones that have been there for years. I know because I see them every day, and I drive through out and they're the same people there. I never seen does anybody go and try to get them help?
If PATH finds out about it,
But
they go.
They've been there. They've been there for years. Come on, the same ones. Now, the ones there is. I see them myself getting off the bus over there by homeless. I mean by home, by the market there. They are actually coming down. I see them, and they don't stick around, but they're there. They come down, and I don't know where they go. But the ones that are resident homeless, they've been hanging around over there by 7-Eleven, throughout the community. We know them. You know them, and they've been around for years. And why are they still there? How come nobody has gone over there and helped them? Because you have mental illness people there, and they're the same ones. You have the same guy that's going around like this. He's been around there for years. A neighbor around the corner from me, that guy's been hanging out there for also years. Why have they not got any help? Or why have you not been able to get to them? So anyway, so that's where I'm going to leave it at, and we will go now into closed session. So that's the end of the meeting here.
1 second, if I can, Mr. Mayor, if I could just explain the closed session item. This is an item that wasn't on the agenda. This item was approved by the City Council as a subsequent need item consistent with the Brown Act. So this item will be a closed session item. This is a conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation. This item is authorized under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 4. That is all.
Sorry, one second, Mayor. So we actually have a second agenda item per Councilmember Barry Bruce's request. Now, we're going to summarize all of the comments and questions that have been answered for the City Council to consider at a future meeting, but there was a specific change that Councilmember Bruce wanted to make prior to that.
Yeah, thank you. This is number 2, for those of you who have a agenda. Yeah, I think it's very important that we make a couple of changes on our homeless plan because they're not correct. So I would just like to make a motion to change 3 things on there. Number 1, to take out New Hope Church. That should have been taken out a long time ago. It was requested multiple times and it was never taken out. It needs to be taken out once and for all because it's a mistake. New Hope does not have a homeless program. Okay, that should be changed to Dandy and Friends Incorporated. That is just Dandy. Dandy is a preschool director at New Hope Community Church, and that is why it got confused. But Dandy has a ministry outside of New Hope Community Church called Dandy and Friends Incorporated, and they're the ones that should be listed in there. So I'd like that correction made. Number 2, I would like Abby Arnold's name in the plan as the writer of the plan, as the one that organized and put together the plan. That way, for once and for all, nobody else's name is going to be brought up. That is if people actually look at the document. That should be in there. It should have been in there from the beginning. And number 3, I think, and I don't know if we can do this, but I think it was a mistake that ABC Unified School District wasn't listed in that plan. That would have been a mistake, I think, made by Abby Arnold. There should be some sort of synopsis of ABC Unified School District and what they do. And I think that probably what happened is she thought, well, that's a district. We're looking at the city of Hawaiian Gardens, but the city of Hawaiian Gardens actually has programs that are in our city that are part of ABC Unified, so I think they should be included in there, like the Wesley Center. I don't know if, what the legalities are, Mr. Attorney, of these things, but certainly the first two should be able to be changed and corrected.
So my suggestion, Councilmember Bruce, is perhaps you make a motion to make those 3 changes, and then staff brings back because the one with the ABC school district, it seems to me that's going to take some preparation. So perhaps we bring back the plan at the next city council meeting with the suggested changes for the council's consideration.
Okay, I make that motion.
I will second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. But I do have a comment. In this motion, there are other things that need to be changed in the plan. So I'm not really sure why we're making some changes and not all the changes all at once. So that's my concern. I have no problem with removing New Hope and adding Abby Arnold. But in terms of ABC and where they fit in the plan and all of the feedback that we've been receiving from the town hall, it's important that we consider all of that when editing the plan, not just throwing these 3 items in there just because. So
Well, I
I'd be
think
happy
that-
to entertain 1 and 2, but we really should review the entire plan and have a thorough discussion, not just throw these 3 items in there.
Well, I'm all in favor of taking this working plan and adding comments that have been made and doing a workshop, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, I'm not going to be around for that, but I think that would be a good thing for council to do, is to begin to look at the plan, the comments that were made from the 3 meetings. I think there have been some really excellent feedback. And then figure out how we might incorporate these things, or how we might, change the direction. But I think to start with, we have some glaring weaknesses in it that should be fixed immediately, and that is the first 2, like you said. I threw in the ABC Unified simply because it was made aware to us tonight in a pretty strong and passionate way by Chris Apodaca, but certainly those first 2 things should be changed for sure.
Well, I know ABC has been in the process throughout, and Linda clarified that at the last meeting, but I believe that in regards to considering the time, that's going to be more of an extensive conversation. I know Mr. Apodaca was already made aware of a resolution of our approval last meeting so that the ABC school district can be a partner. So he has been notified in that.
We're running
But-
out of time because we have to leave.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move forward.
Okay, I just want to say that in 1 second that I was one of the 3 that approved the plan because it was a workable plan, and nothing's set in stone, and your comments will be added and some will be subtracted from this workable plan.
Okay.
So if I may, Mr. Mayor, just to sum up, there was a motion, there was a second, there was a vote. The
Yes.
3 items will
I'm
be brought
actually
back.
going to retract my yes vote and vote no because I don't feel comfortable with just number 3, adding ABC without considering everything else. I only feel comfortable with 1 and 2. My colleagues, that was not their motion, so I vote no.
But let's get clarification here. We're still going to work on the plan, correct? It's
So-
not going to set the plan in stone, just these 2 items. Take my name, church's name, out of it because it's being drugged through the mud through political mail and through verbal political lies. So take our name out because I'm going to warn you guys. The senior pastor at our church is an attorney, and you're slandering the church. And take our name off documentation, please.
Okay, so
just-
All right,
Mayor,
so
yeah.
the whole thing is, okay, we already had the vote. Can we just
Let's
call the question and move
now,
on? And goodness
Is this
gracious.
plan completely approved by what you guys are suggesting, or do we have to?
No,
come
Ray,
back?
my motion was to simply change
Change, so-
the 3 things.
So we're gonna
It
have
was
to
seconded, and we voted.
So we're going to have to bring it back up again and then approved.
Not you, Ray, not me.
Well, I know.
So,
So
so
let's
let me
move on.
Let me clarify. So there's a motion on the table and a second to amend those 3 areas as identified by Councilmember Barry Bruce. The plan and all of the public comments will come back to the city council for consideration.
Yes.
Or more
Yes.
changes if needed.
For more changes, they are needed. So yes, we will change them. But take the church's name out, like Barry requested, please.
So again, just procedurally so that we're consistent here. There was a motion, there was a second, there was a vote, it was unanimous. Councilmember Maravilla wants a motion for reconsideration. She can make that motion because she was part of the yes vote on the vote. So she could have a vote for, motion for reconsideration. She would need a second, and her intent is to vote no on the motion that was proposed.
That's correct. So my request would be just to remove New Hope Church and add Dandy and Friends Incorporated, and add Abby Arnold's name on the plan. But I don't feel comfortable adding ABC and not all the other considerations that we've received in the last 3 town hall meetings. So that is where I stand, and I would like my previous vote to be retracted as a no vote.
So procedurally, again, it would be appropriate for Councilmember Maravilla to ask for a motion for reconsideration. That would need a second, and then you would vote on whether you want to reconsider the item. If not, then the item just gets recorded as is.
I would second it, but
Discussion.
Councilmember Maravilla, did you make the motion?
That's correct.
And there's a second.
Discussion. Ms. Maravilla should have taken well
let's
into
take a vote.
consideration.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
haven't called the vote, but you can call the vote if you want. Don't hear my discussion. But as council members, we should have taken into consideration, or she should have taken into consideration the vote she was rendering. I think it's ridiculous to ask for a revote.
Well, let's take a vote. And,
What is this vote
So
on?
there's been a motion and there's been a second. The motion is simply to reconsider
Okay.
the last item that action was taken on. So there's a first, there's a second, now it's appropriate for a roll call.
All right. So, you starting with me, or?
So who's doing the roll call?
Roll call. Wait,
Councilmember Maravilla,
I vote yes on my motion.
Councilmember Trimble,
No.
Councilmember Bruce,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Rios,
No.
and Mayor Rodriguez.
yes.
So the motion fails, and so the previous motion moves forward as recorded.
Okay, so we're out of
So
time.
Councilmember Maravilla says she did not vote yes on the last item, so that will be recorded as a 4-1. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to report back out from closed session. So tonight, in closed session, the city council, with all 5 members of the council being present, city staff made a presentation related to item number 3, which was the subsequent item, conference with legal counsel. Staff made a presentation. No final action was taken. Nothing further to report.
With that, we adjourn this meeting. Thank you.